Some of life's most valuable lessons come from the simplest things. Not from books, not from celebrities, but from the most ordinary moments in the most unexpected ways. Like a pair of shoes. In a dusty corner of an old shoe shop, where the last light of the day slips through a smudged glass window, a brand new pair of shoes has just been placed on the shelf. Clean, shiny, and full of excitement for the journey ahead. But right beside it sits a worn-out shoe, scuffed soles, tattered seams, stained with mud. To some, it might look worthless, but this old shoe carries a lifetime within it. And today, it wants to share a few things with its new companion. Lessons it learned only after walking through thousands of steps. This is the old shoe. A small story, but it just might leave a big footprint on your heart. Don't be afraid to get dirty, because you were born to walk. The old shoe said it in a raspy voice, like even the threads holding it together were too tired to keep their shape. The new shoe stayed silent. The shop's warm light reflected off its soft, shiny leather, still smelling of glue and fresh stitching. It had never touched mud, never felt a rough road, never been worn to run, to jump, to brave the sun, or endure the pouring rain. Looking at how clean you are, I know you're dreaming of great adventures. The old shoe chuckled. I used to be like that too, sitting in a box, smelling brand new, thinking life would be all red carpets and smooth paths. But the truth wasn't like that. There was mud, there was sand, sharp gravel that tore my heel, stains that wouldn't come off no matter how hard you scrubbed. I used to hate it. The new shoe shifted slightly, glancing at its worn-out companion. It noticed the cracked heel, the frayed leather about to peel, the thread unraveling at the toe. "Did you regret it?" it asked, voice trembling. The old shoe went quiet for a moment, then slowly shook its head. "No, I don't regret it. Because those stains, those times I was stepped on, soaked in rain, burned by the sun, that's what made me feel alive. Just like people. You can't live a full life sitting in a box, untouched. Real living begins when you're willing to get dirty, to wear down, to accept that one day, you won't be brand new anymore." His voice dropped lower, softer, as if sharing the most important truth of his life. "You were born to walk, not to be displayed." The new shoe said nothing, but in that silence it understood. Its value didn't come from how clean it looked, but from a road it would dare take, from the dust it would carry, the mud it would embrace. And sometimes, the stains themselves would tell a story, without a single word being said. The new shoe looked down at its smooth leather. Not a single scratch, not a single crease. Everything was pristine, like it had just stepped out of a dream. But right beside it, the old shoe still lay, worn, torn, faded, a living testament to years gone by. "See these scratches on me?" The old shoe spoke gently, like telling a bedtime story. "Not everyone likes them. Many would look and say I'm old, broken, useless, ready to be thrown away. But to me, each scratch is a chapter in the diary of my life." The new shoe leaned in, studying more closely. It noticed a long scrape on the right side, a small tear near the sole, rough patches where the shine had long disappeared. The old shoe smiled, as if reading its thoughts. "That long one," he pointed to the side, "came from a day I helped a little boy climb a metal fence to rescue a lost dog. And that tear was from when we slipped on the pavement while running through the rain, trying to reach his mom, who was waiting at the end of the street. Every mark, my dear, carries something meaningful." The new shoe fell silent. It had never imagined that scratches, once seen as ugly, could hold so many memories. To it, a scuff meant damage, a flaw, a reason to be returned or discarded. But now, it saw them differently, like quiet medals from a journey no one ever spoke about. Some people might shine you every day, keep you spotless in a glass case. The old shoe said, eyes distant. "But if you're not ready to earn your first scar, you'll never know what it means to truly live. A scratch doesn't take away your worth. It proves you've been somewhere. You've loved. You've lost. You were brave." He paused, then whispered, "A scratch doesn't make you less. It makes you real." The new shoe gently nodded. Maybe someday, it too would bear marks that couldn't be hidden. And when that time came, it wouldn't hide them. It would tell the story, just like he did. with pride. The new shoe was still lost in thought, pondering the scratches on its old friend's surface. When the elder spoke again, this time with a deeper tone, as if drawing from a quiet corner of his soul. But no matter how brave you are, no matter how far you go, there will come a time when you feel you're no longer strong. He gently tilted his sole. The new shoe caught sight of it, a long seam stitched with thread of a different color. Rough, uneven, obvious. It wasn't hidden at all. I used to believe I'd last forever, the old shoe breathed. But the soles eventually peeled off. The threads gave way, and the leather cracked under the sun and rain. And I had to stop. Couldn't run anymore. Couldn't go any farther. A vague unease crept into the new shoe's heart. It had never considered the idea of being mended. To its mind, when something tears, it's thrown away. When it breaks, it ends. But the old one's voice flowed on, steady and comforting. A kind old cobbler found me, tucked away in a dusty corner, he said. He didn't throw me out. Instead, he spent the whole afternoon stitching every thread back in place, gluing my soles, wiping off the mold. And when he lifted me up in his gentle hands, I realized I still mattered. All I needed was a little care. One repair, that was enough to keep going. He turned to the young shoe, eyes soft and kind. There will come a time when you feel tired, when you crack, and you'll wonder if you're still strong enough to keep going. But don't let that make you feel worthless. We all need mending, not because we're weak, but because we've traveled far. The new shoe lowered its gaze. A quiet stillness settled in its heart, not from fear, but from understanding something deeply true. Your worth doesn't lie in staying flawless. It lies in being honest when you're torn, and in the courage to be healed. These stitches, the old one raised his worn foot, are proof that I once broke down, but they're also proof that I stood back up. You don't have to be perfect to keep going. You just have to be willing to be healed and to take the next step. After a long silence, the new shoe finally spoke, softly, hesitantly, as if afraid its question might sound foolish. But if I grow old and worn out, and people just pass me by without even a glance, do I still have any value? The old shoe didn't smile, nor did he seem sad. He simply looked at the young one, who was clearly struggling with a question everyone wrestles with at the start of their journey. The need to be seen, to be recognized. I used to shine just like you, the old one began, his voice carrying the rhythm of a forgotten lullaby. I was displayed right in the center of a shelf under those golden lights. Everyone who walked by would stop and admire me. Back then, I thought I was special, but it wasn't until I was taken home that I truly understood. Those lights were temporary. What truly keeps you in someone's heart isn't how you looked, but what you've walked through with them. The new shoe glanced down at its gleaming surface. It realized it had never left the showroom, never been stepped on, never felt the ups and downs of uneven streets. It was beautiful, but it was an untested beauty, a beauty that hadn't lived. The old shoe slowly turned, revealing a sole worn thin at the heel. Someone once asked me, he said, "Why don't you repaint yourself? Polish those scuffs? Hide the wear and tear?" And I told him this. I could do that, but then I wouldn't be me anymore. Every scuff, every faded patch, is a testament to a life lived with honesty. He looked the young one in the eyes. Your true worth doesn't come from how new you are. It comes from who you've walked with and what you've walked through. A shiny pair of shoes might catch someone's eye for a moment, but a pair that's truly been there, that's shared real journeys. That's the one people can't bear to let go of. And in that moment, the new shoe understood that beneath the scuffed leather and dusty finish wasn't deterioration, but a heart that had lived fully. Suddenly, it no longer saw itself as more noble just because it was still new, because appearance may draw the first glance, but it's what lies within that holds someone's heart. After all, a great pair of shoes isn't the one that's never been dirty. It's the one that's traveled far and still hasn't lost its soul. Late in the afternoon, the sun streamed through the wooden window frame, casting pale golden streaks across the floor. The old shoe looked up, out toward the dusty road, the one where he had left so many footprints throughout his life. His voice, now slow and calm, seemed to touch something deep within his heart. "You know," he began, "someday, each of us will reach a point where we simply can't keep walking. The soles were down, the stitches come loose, the leather cracks. But that's not a sign of a sad ending. It's a gentle reminder that we were here, and we left something behind." The new shoe stayed silent. It had never thought of that, of a day when it would no longer be worn. Its idea of the future had always been long strides on city streets, endless journeys with no final stop. But the old one was speaking of something different, of impact, of memory, of what remains when the last step has been taken. The old shoe looked down at his sole, worn down almost completely flat. "My footprints may have faded," he said with a quiet smile, "but the boy who wore me still remembers. He remembers the day I slipped on wet grass when he told his first crush how he felt. Remembers running home with me under pouring rain because his mom was waiting for dinner. Remembers standing still for 2 whole hours at graduation. All of it, every moment, etched not in the ground, but in his heart. The real footprints," he said softly, "aren't the ones that disappear in the rain or get swept away by the wind. They live on in the memories of those who walked with you." The new shoe let out a slow breath. It understood now. Meaning doesn't come from being new or polished. It comes from this. When your journey ends, will someone miss you? Will they smile when they remember you? The old shoe closed his eyes, as if reliving a lifetime, not one of display, but of companionship. "Don't be afraid of wearing down," he whispered at last. "As long as every step you take with all your heart, one day, when you're gone, someone will pick you up, look closely, and smile. These shoes, they travel far. And that, my dear, is the greatest gift a pair of shoes, or human life, can ever leave behind in this world. Not perfection, but footprints full of love." And that is the story of an old pair of shoes. Not glamorous, not flawless, but a quiet testament to a life that was truly walked, with sincerity, resilience, and love. You see, life doesn't ask you to always be shiny or new. It just asks you to begin, to sweat, to wear down, to be torn, to be stitched back up, and to keep moving forward. The surface may fade, but what you leave behind in others, the warmth, the memories, the footprints, the love, those are what truly last. So live like a good pair of shoes, not made to be displayed, but to walk beside someone, not made to stay spotless, but to leave footprints that matter. And one day, when you're no longer here, someone will look back on your life and smile. This one walked far,